Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm Terry Brosmer, President of the Accredited Gemmologists Association. And on behalf of the AGA Board and our Education and Webinar Committee, I'd like to welcome AGA members and guests to episode 5 in our series called the AGA Celebrity Gemmologist Interviews. For those of you who are not familiar with AGA, we are a nonprofit professional organization dedicated to providing a platform for gemmological education and networking and to upholding and promoting the highest professional ethics within the gemmological community. If you're not yet a member, I urge you to support our mission by joining some of the world's brightest gemmological minds as an AGA member. We offer membership levels for everyone, from students and hobbyists to practicing gemmologists and research scientists. Hailing from around the globe, our members share a single passion, and that is gemmology. AGA members are incredibly generous and happy to share their knowledge and experience no matter their position in the industry. Our dues are purposefully affordable with the goal of that they remain attainable to everyone, while the association continues to raise the bar when it comes to providing a platform for gemmological education and the exchange of information. So visit our website, agatoday.org, to complete your application. As a nonprofit association, we rely not only on our membership dues, but also on the generosity of our sponsors, who in turn benefit from the exposure to a targeted audience of professionals in the gemmological community. They meet our members and guests in person during the Tucson conference, and throughout the year, they enjoy the publicity that comes through virtual and recorded events like this one. In 2025, essential support is provided by our Ruby sponsors, AGTA, Roskin Gem News, the Gem Shopping Network, and Stoller. We thank them greatly. We appreciate our Emerald sponsors, Quantum Leap Appraisal Software, Magilabs, Martinez Diamante, Canadian Gemmological Association, the American Society of Appraisers, Heritage Auctions, the Scottish Gemmological Association, Bonhams, Chatham, the Chicago Gem and Jewelry Evaluation Services, and Articulated Stones. Please consider these businesses and organizations for your professional needs. We are actively soliciting annual membership for 2026. I urge you to consider investing in this organization that continues to give so much to the global gemmological community. More information about sponsorship levels and benefits is available on our website. I know we're all excited to listen in as two of the most influential gemmologists of our time share a chat. But before we get started, I'd like to mention a couple of very important upcoming events on the AGA calendar. Every 3 years, AGA holds board elections. AGA board members chart the course for our association. The service is voluntary, but so rewarding. I'm thrilled to say that through serving as an AGA board member, I count Donna and Çiğdem as trusted friends and colleagues. So AGA members, please give it some thought and nominate yourself or someone you believe would bring experience and wisdom to the position. You can follow the nomination link on the online form in the email you received last week. Elections will be held later this fall. Each year, AGA celebrates the recipient of the Bonanno Award at our annual Tucson Gemmological Conference. Nominations for this prestigious award closed in July. AGA members will vote for the 2025 recipient in October. So if you apply for membership now, you will be able to vote for the 2025 AGA Bonanno Award. Keep your eyes open for the email ballot. We have Dr. Çiğdem Lüle to thank for coming up with this brilliant idea, the Celebrity Gemmologist Interview. It was her incredible insight to predict that many of us would be interested in getting to know the celebrities and change makers in our industry, and she was right. Today's featured gemmologist is truly a celebrity in our world, and we are eager to get better acquainted. Donna Hawrelko is a learned gemologist, incredibly gifted teacher, and a well-respected leader in both AGA and the Canadian Gemmological Association. Donna and our interviewer, Dr. Lule, have both been honored with the AGA Antonio C. Bonanno Award for Excellence in Gemology. Their mutual respect forms the basis of their lifelong friendship. So now I'd like to introduce Dr. Çiğdem Lüle.
Thank you, Terry. You're always very kind. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you are here and you're going to see a really friendly chat between Donna and I. But before then, because I'm generally used to moderating these instead of getting involved in it as an interview, I'd like to give you a little bit of heads up what's going to happen during the interview in the background. So the interview will take an hour and a half, and in the first hour I will be asking questions to Donna, and then we will have our conversation, and all the attendees can type their questions into questions box, because the last half hour of that time will be dedicated to live questions coming from the audience. So please feel free to ask questions, and Terry and Bonnie will be monitoring them, and as long as we have time, we will do our best to answer those questions. Other than that, I'm sure you are familiar by now with the GoToWebinar panel, but there is a basically control panel on your computer screen, and you can see the questions and the chat box. While you're watching what we're talking about, or what was talked about before, Bonnie will be posting websites. So if you're interested in any of those subjects that were already mentioned, or the organizations or like the AGA, you can go to those links, and that's for your convenience. Now, I guess I have given the heads up a little, and now I'd like to welcome Donna. I met Donna at my first day of AGA. It was quite a long time ago. I'm not going to go that far, but ever since, I've been a great admirer. Donna is an incredibly open, generous, and a colorful personality, and she's a teacher by nature. She's a wonderful friend that you can talk to, you can get advice from. She would never overwhelm you or you know, ask things. I've never seen a kinder person when it comes to asking for help. And ever since, as I said, I'm an admirer, but also we became really good friends. And when I asked Donna whom she would like to be interviewed, she asked me to do that, and I was honored and excited. So I'm really excited today. So you can you can see that, hopefully, but I'm not nervous because it's going to be a really fun talk. The only thing that before we start, I want to apologize to Donna doing this early in the morning. I know you don't like it. But we wanted to welcome as many people as possible from different time zones. So that's the reason we're having it. But I have to tell you, if you're in the audience, and if you've never been to AGA conference or gala, you must, just to be able to talk to Donna, especially at the gala night. If you get a glass of wine with her, you're going to have the best time ever. So it's not just about talking here, but you really need to have that experience. We welcome you for that. Now, you've all read what Donna did, what the bio is, so I'm not going to go into any of those details because we will talk about more of personality of Donna Hawrelko and how she get involved with it. We know her achievements, there are a lot of them. But how she came to that point is more important, because the idea of these interviews are basically showing people that nothing is impossible. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different strengths. And AGA is a very welcoming and approachable group. So we would like to share our celebrities and their backgrounds so that you can find something that might be of interest to you. So that's the reason we're doing these interviews, and I'm so honored and privileged to have Donna today to talk about things. So before we start, Donna, would you like to say anything?
I would like to say I'm really appreciative to be a part of AGA and part of the organization. And I'm humbled to think that people care enough to want to know about me, because that's not what it's about. I just feel it's about students and about passing learning on, etc. So that's why I changed my career. Was I was working with high profile and youth and teenagers in the correction system, and when I started taking guns away, my husband said, I think you better take your pink sunglasses off and start having some work where you're not going to end up in a garbage can somewhere. So it was really a midlife change for me to pursue gemology, because I had always been kind of the weird girl when I was young. I didn't collect dolls like some of my classmates did, and I kind of got away with collecting rocks because I lived on a farm, so I didn't have to collect dolls. She lives on a farm, it's okay, she has rocks. So it was I was able to get away with being weird from young, because I grew up on a farm. So there you go. And it was just all life and happenstance and circumstance. And I really wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals and loved working around them. But my school counselor said I would be better suited to be a nurse or a teacher or a social worker or whatever. So nursing was not in my anywhere, because when somebody's coughing their cookies, Donna's coughing their cookies. So nursing doesn't work. So anyway, so yeah, and it's just I chose social work and was working with youth, and then eventually grew up and got to take about gemology in school and loved it and went on from there. So
that's great. Well, we'll come to that later on about your teaching because it's natural to you and it shows because of your past experience before gemology. So you talked about how your life was before gemology. When you decided to do that, what steps did you take and become a gemologist?
I wanted to learn about stones, so I found about GIA and took their diamond course, and I really was lacking the in-person classroom experience because we had to take everything, not online then, but it was all correspondence via mail back in those days. So it was difficult because you didn't make contact or personal contact, and you couldn't ask questions and you couldn't interact. So then I heard the gemology program was being put on in Vancouver at a college, and went and spoke to them and asked about in-classroom instruction and the questions, and didn't register the first year. Had to think about it because I thought the instructor was a little bit of a wingnut and thought, I'm not sure I'm going to learn anything from this guy. But anyway, I eventually went back and it was all good. Progressed from there. And at my graduation, because it was the Canadian Gemmological Association, I took the program in Vancouver, but went to Toronto for the graduation because that's where the graduations were all for the whole country then. And that is where I met Alan Hodgkinson, who convinced me that, because I had managed to get the highest mark in the labs in Canada, that when I wrote the exams, I was kind of offered a teaching position if I wanted it. after graduation. I wasn't too sure about that. It was actually Alan who encouraged me to, yes, go ahead and try it. You know, he said, you're not going to marry it. If you love it, you'll do well. If you don't love it, you won't do well. So it was Alan's encouragement and support, and just him generally, who encouraged me to become an instructor and teacher. So
oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. You know, meeting with one of the giants of gemology in your early days of gemology must be quite an experience. And
Yes.
We all know Alan. I mean, may he rest in peace. He was so generous, and I'm glad he encouraged you. I'm glad he could see that in you, and you are with us now, and you're very humble as always. So obviously, when you did your Canadian Gemmological diploma, I should say, was it with FGA or you did the FGA separately?
I did them both together. Yes.
Together. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, and also you touched on how in-person communication is important in gemology, right? This is very important. In teaching, you really need to feel the student and then try to help them. Granted, today we have a lot of online classes and so on, but in practice,
you learn about the students, and everyone has different needs and everyone learns differently. So it's really important to listen to what your students have to say. And it's not just what they have to say in class, but just to chat with them before class, during coffee break, and find out about them, find out what they need, how they learn, and what kind of things are important to them. Because, you know, everyone's there for a different reason. And I think if you take the time to try and understand them and get to know what they need and try and make the class a little more supportive to each and every one of them, and that's what's important. It's about the students.
Yes, I was coming to that because it shows how wonderful of a teacher you are. You go beyond that. You become friends with them. You know, when you come to Tucson, you have an entourage of students that every year they come with you, they learn with you, and they never leave you. I remember the award night when I asked people how many of you were in the audience was student to Donna. The number of people stood up was just, you know, I still get the goosebumps. It was so impressive. So there's something about your teaching, and I admire and I always look up to is something that really important. With that, I want to ask you one question. What is the most important element in teaching for you? It's not just the knowledge or giving it, I believe.
I think the most important element is feeling your students and working with them and having a feel for your class and for each student, and to know what try and figure out what their needs are, you know, and spend a little extra time after class or before class with each one of them if you can, to try and help them. A word of encouragement or a sentence or two makes such a big difference. And you were talking about my students in Tucson. It gave me such joy to introduce them to the legends. I'm talking to Alan Hodgkinson, to John Koivula, to Stuart Robertson, to Richard Drucker. My students would just glow and come back to class and say, oh, you know who Tommy introduced us to, blah, blah, blah. And they were so thrilled to meet the true legends, you know, and when they have Richard Hughes, you know, autograph their book because they bought a book. And you know, it's those kind of special experiences that anchored the students' choice of career and help them to become more rounded in what they do, and also gives them more depth. You know, they can speak and say, oh, well, I met this man who wrote this book, and I've gone to book signed by him, and I know this, and I met this. And that's so important, that we have so many incredible legends who are so willing to share their time, share a handshake, autograph a book for them, and just sit down and have a drink, you know, and it's so memorable for students. And I think so many careers have actually been set in stone in those kind of interactions in Tucson. You know, it just.
That's for sure. I remember the times that I first met Alan Hodgkinson or John Koivula. I was as excited as seeing a rock star.
Exactly.
You know, as if I was a teenager, and I was talking to these people and seeing how approachable they were as well. I don't think I've ever been turned down by any of the important people, and that's what makes them important. I think they are so approachable. They never turn down any requests. They never leave you without an answer. And if they don't know the answer, they would always direct you to the right people. So that kind of sharing is important, but also you demonstrating it to your students. And I have to say for the audience to know about this, but I visited Donna several times in Vancouver, and she organizes conferences and other meetings and so on. It's always been wonderful. She's an incredibly good organizer, by the way. If you've seen our conferences in Tucson, we owe it to Donna for many years. And at those meetings, when I met your students in the classroom or just new students, there are so many international students as well. That's Vancouver's character. And you know how to communicate with them as well, because they're all coming from different backgrounds, different countries. English is their not first language. And because I'm a student, I was a student of a different background. When I first did my gemology in England, English wasn't my first language. I didn't know how to communicate with people properly. I could read and write, but having a conversation was not an easy thing. And you saw that. You always see the person inside a student, rather than somebody needs to learn gemology, and that's what I admire. And tell us about those international experiences with those students, because I've seen so many people admiring you just for that. They're speaking of you with great gratitude.
Well, I'm really proud to say I have students that have opened schools in other countries, in Hong Kong, in Iran, you know, and I'm just so incredibly proud of them. I have students who have opened jewelry stores in Australia and still are in touch with me. And it's just really heartwarming to think your students haven't forgotten you. And one of the nicest things is, you know, getting an email at Christmas and saying, hi, how you doing? You know, and things like that. So it's really nice. And I'm so happy to see some of my students who, who graduated and opened schools like in Iran, and they are now members of AGA, and they bring their students. So it's so exciting for me to see that kind of thing generating itself as we go and as we grow, and all of us work together. So yeah, I'm just so proud of that.
Yeah, it's a good time to emphasize networking. And if you start when you're a student, then it comes naturally to you in the coming years. I have made my best contacts and wonderful friends through socializing within gemology world. So it's important to do that, and that's what you naturally put in your students. So that's what they come to afterwards. That's wonderful. Thank you. Excuse me. So apart from your teaching, you are very social internationally in gemological community. Everybody knows you. It's because you're such a fun person, but you are so approachable, and you made very good international friends too. And one of the reasons that you're so popular, I think you've been volunteering for decades for many different things. So tell us about how you started volunteering and what was the motivation behind it?
Well, I think there was someone in my graduation class named Alan who talked about paying forward and doing that, and you know how it's important to not forget and who helped you and what they did and what you can do moving forward. And that was a very inspirational talk. Not only that, it was great to go and drink with him, you know, at the top of the tower there in Toronto, and get the lecture. and you know, it was his support to encourage me to keep reaching out and challenging. And you know, I'm really proud that I challenged the British people about how the kind of exams they put forward to students. And you know, I argued with them that, well, you don't have to learn how to draw the inside of a spectroscope to be a gemologist. I said, any idiot can do that. It doesn't represent good gemology. So I kind of changed the direction of education in a few organizations, mine, the Canadian Gemmological Association as well, and GEMA, because the old ways of examining people by memorization and drawing the insides of instruments doesn't represent good gemology. You want people to know how to use those instruments, never mind draw the insides of them. So many arguments, many kind of debates about how to put out a fair exam to students who were capable and maybe not could memorize everything was really important. Mm-hmm. And I think all the organizations have come a long way in that way, and not doing the silliness about memorization, but actually, how do you do things? How do you use your skills? How can you improve on things? So I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of sharing. Alan was also, I joined AGA through Alan, because it was Alan who invited me to the presentation when he received the first Bonanno Award in the year 2000. And he says, oh, I'm going to get an award tonight from this organization. I didn't know about them. And he said, would you like to come? I said, oh yeah, if you're getting an award, I'm there. So, and that's where I met the people and saw Alan's award. And that was the night I joined AGA. I said to someone, I want to join this organization. I didn't ask if I could. I just told them I was going to join. So it was again because of Alan and his award and meeting the incredible people that were there at the time. So yeah.
Thank you. And you've been volunteering for AGA ever since. You weren't just any member. If we have any members in the audience, apart from being a member, if you would like to get more active, the election is coming as well. But it's a privilege. I've been volunteering for AGA for some time, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Donna.
Well, not only volunteering, think about the lovely and incredible people you get to meet. You know, it's not just about giving, it's about you getting something out of it. And you getting something out of it is like, I work with such amazing people like you and Stuart and Richard and John Koivula. You get to work with all of these legends, and you get to become more than just an acquaintance. You can sit down and have a drink with them. You can sit and laugh with them. And that's part of getting your piece of the volunteering out. You know, it's a two-way thing. And I'm just so proud of meeting all of these legends and getting to say, you know what, I know them. They're more than just an acquaintance. And that's my That's my takeaway. My award is that I love these people and I've met them, and wow, what an honor. What a true honor for me.
And you mentioned that it's giving it back basically, because
Yes.
you're naturally a teacher, and then you're very social. You understand. You're very good with people. So and that's wonderful. I think it's all about sharing, and giving back in education is my one of my principles, I should say. I'm all for education, and that's a wonderful feeling. So, and I learned say it, you do.
Yes, I do. You share the same, and that's great.
And you're an inspiration to me. You're so out there so naturally, and it's one of those things that I look up and think, oh yeah, we can do that. There should be more people to do it. And you're setting the example is really, really important. Thank you for that.
Well, I'm thinking also times are so different now, and I think we have to remember that all of us will get better and get stronger by working together, volunteering together. It's a difficult time for not only North America, but the world right now. So I think we really have to focus on helping each other and leaving the negativity behind, and trying our best to encourage, to help, do whatever we can, with or without tariffs. But I mean, we've got to do this kind of thing and be together and work together and help each other.
I understand that, and I totally agree with you. That is so important, especially today. We talked about AGA quite a bit, but you've been volunteering for Canadian Gemmological Association for a long time, and you are now the president of Canadian Gemmological Association. Would you like to tell us about your group in Canada and how things are in Canada in terms of gemology?
Well, we are a truly nonprofit educational organization. We are over 65 years old. We started and were organized in 1958. So we are a few years old. And thanks to all the incredible leaders that we had before, the organization is working on, and we do education, professional education in Canada. And we also encourage and help other organizations to do education. And we're starting our own appraisal program, because there are many appraisal programs all over the world, but none are kind of suited to Canadian laws. So we're doing our own thing, and we've got the encouraging, because we have such a whole mosaic of talented people wanting to do and be a part of it. So I'm very excited about that, to have Canada's own appraisal course that is not going to be any different from anyone else's, but focused on Canadian laws instead of laws for other places. And we've received charity status in Canada. It's a little bit more difficult to get charity status and be able to issue the tax receipts for people, because the laws are much stricter. So we had a lot of paperwork, a lot of credentials, a lot of applications and forms and examinations and government investigation before they would grant us that status. So finally, after a few years, we managed to get that. So we are starting to really come along now that we have that status, that we can give people tax receipts. It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you, because this brings me to the other point that I wanted to make about you is your leadership. Because it's not just about teaching, but when you're volunteering for these groups, and I'm sure there are many others that I didn't even know, I wouldn't even know, but I'm sure there are many of them because I know you. You just not go there and do something for the group. You have came to a point that you managed them. You became the leader of the group. I know how much you have done for AGA when you were president of AGA, and you set certain foundations. For example, being in the board today, I can see with the changes you brought to AGA, made it easier for us to move forward, especially with education, with other activities that we could do, making the conference so accessible and so good. I mean, I think the AGA conference in Tucson is the event in Tucson outside the shows.
Right.
That's where people come and exchange information from all over the world, literally. And we
Yes.
have international speakers and so on. So let's talk about leadership in gemology. When you're volunteering, you've done that in AGA, you've done that in CGA. What is the motivation behind it, and pros and cons? Do you have to be really a leader to do that, or you think if you have the right people around you, you can do it? Tell us about it.
I don't think it's so much me a leader as I'm fortunate that I'm surrounded by incredibly talented and willing people. And, and if you work together as a team, we all get so much better, so much faster, so much. I'm just a real believer in working as a team. And maybe I am a leader. I'm not sure. You always question yourself as to, did I do that right, or should I have done this or whatever? But I just, the one philosophy is like when we all work together, whether it's international organizations or whether it's just the group of you working on one team for one organization, if you work together, it just works so much better and you become so much stronger and so much more vibrant. You input an energy into the organization when you have positive relationships. I mean, you can have all kinds of organizations that have, all kinds of admin stuff, but if you don't have that positive electricity in there, things just don't get done the same way. And that's just an important thing, whether it comes from some crazy idea that you've all gone absurdly nuts over, but you know what, it's a bonding thing and it works well, and those kind of things happen. And that's it's about life, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, it's always a teamwork. It takes a village to do these things, but you're so right. It's like another work, volunteer or paid. You come together with people, and if you're on the same wavelength, then it works much better. But it's just like another work. It depends on how much you love it, how passionate you are about it. So I agree with you on that. Okay. Well, we're going to move on to other questions, but before we move on to questions from the audience, and please, I encourage you to ask the question so that you can talk to Donna.
You can ask any question, except how much I weigh. You're not allowed to do that.
Okay. If you weren't a gemologist, if you didn't have that idea before, because you were interested in science and so on, what else do you think would be your profession?
I probably would have been a large animal veterinarian, because that's what I did on the farm where I grew up with my dad. And it was, sometimes it's not all pleasant, but it wasn't on a, animal things didn't make me barf, but people barfing made me barf. So nursing was out, veterinarian medicine was in, but just it didn't work. Couldn't afford it at the time. Had to go far away to school, and kind of grew up in a pretty humble farm. So there was no money available, and no student loan large enough that I could move away and live away and go to school, etc. So yeah, it just happenstance and circumstance. But I still have my love for animals.
Great. And one more question, actually. I'm sure there are many, and you all already mentioned how you met Alan Hodgkinson and the other celebrities throughout AGA and so on, but tell us about most awarding moments or most excited moments in your careers. There are many, I believe, because you've been here for decades, but anything really exciting that you want to share with us?
I think just the graduation of my students and seeing them and seeing their families and having them, you know, I always, for graduations in Vancouver, I always had a conference surrounding it. So incredible leaders, community leaders, speakers, and to just see my students on their graduation night with their parents and having pictures with people like John Koivula and Alan Hodgkinson, Richard Hughes, and the students being so excited and bringing their parents. That was so gratifying to see, and it was something that any teacher would be just overwhelmed and thankful for sharing. Like I felt so privileged to be able to share that with them. So
okay,
it was awesome.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna take questions if we're ready. Terry, is there anything that you can pass on to us, or can we open the speakers for the Oscar?
I think we can open, let me see if I can open people's
microphones. Yeah, I think we can do that.
I'm going to, nope.
Well, I think they need to raise their hand.
Raise their hands, yes, they can raise their hand. I can't open the microphones, but they can raise their hands and then I think I can open it.
Okay, so here's my suggestion. If you don't want to talk, please type your question in the questions box, and feel free to ask anything you want. And if you feel like talking or saying something, then raise your hand. There's a raise your hand button on your control panel, and then we should be able to turn the microphone and so you can talk. You can introduce yourself and ask the question or say what you need to say. Please do that. I'm waiting for you.
I don't, I'm not seeing anything at the moment, but Donna, I have a quick question. And we've talked so much about the human touch and your all the things that you bring to the table on that front. But when it comes to the gemological part of it, I'm just curious to know if there's anything that you've experienced in teaching that really surprised you or you found incredibly interesting on a completely scientific or gemological level.
I've always been fascinated with a lot of things, but when they found, when they found diamonds in Canada, and BHP Billiton were kind of showing us some of the incredible diamonds that came out of the Ekati mine, which was Canada's first diamond mine. That was a really kind of highlight for me to be invited to see some of the things that came, some of the diamonds that came out of the mine, and not only that, some of the geological features that they were associated with, and indicator minerals, and all of these kind of things that you don't really learn about in gemology, but you learned from them because they were mining it here. So that was kind of a very neat thing that I enjoyed. And then, of course, working with people like Gabby Tolkowski, we helped write the world's first diamond cutting manual for the government of the Northwest Territories in Canada. So there were a group of about 30 of us, but working with Gabby Tolkowski on that was just an honor and a privilege too, because being as a teacher, I was invited to be a part of that team for writing the manual for how to cut diamonds. So it was really, really a high point working with those people too, for me. You know, of course it's volunteer, but at the same time, to work with those legends was just amazing, and you know, an life impact for me for sure.
Thank you. That's great. We have Krista has her hand up. So Krista, I'm going to open your microphone. It says you are self-muted. So Krista, in the tools panel, probably on the right of your screen, there should be a place to push the microphone.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been such a great, thank you so much for your time today, and it's so nice to hear. It's been a while. I'm in the swing of things in gemology, so I kind of was like, yeah. So my question is for Madam Donna. I wanted to ask you. I was I basically graduated in the Canadian Gemmological Association, and was also able to do the British Gemmological Association. But I moved from cities. I was working and living in Toronto, and I was, you know, pursuing a job in gemology there for a few years. I guess I have about 4 or 5 years experience. But I kind of unexpectedly moved back to my home city of Montreal and took kind of a different path. And now it's been almost 4 years since I'm back here. I haven't really touched my gemology, and I'm trying a way to get back into it. I actually was thinking of doing the appraisal course. I've been in touch with you know, people in that realm. And basically my question for you is, what advice would you give? Because I completely like gemology is a passion of mine. Like I absolutely love diamonds. I can't lie, those are my favorite. And I kind of want to find a way to get back into it, but I don't know anyone in this industry here in Montreal. Unfortunately, a lot of my contacts in Toronto have not really been open to also kind of helping me out in that realm, surprisingly. So I just wanted to get your advice on that, because like I just wanted to hear what your thoughts were on it. Yeah, thank you.
Well, depends how interested you are in getting back into it. Do you want to teach? Do you want to open a school? We'll help you open a school there if you want. Whatever you have to decide to what length you want to go back to gemology. And that's the important thing. And certainly be in touch with us, and anything that you think that you might need or need help with, we're there to help you as an organization. Whatever you think would work, we're there to help and support you. So think about that and give it some serious thought, because there are so many ways that you can go back, whether you want to go back into it in a commercial way, or you want to go back and educate or do this kind of thing, because there is room now for that in Montreal, because GemA has the school that Odile used to have a school, and she had the rights for the French version of GemA. So yeah, there's all of that kind of stuff available. So you certainly can pursue that, and we would help you if you want.
Well, I really do appreciate that, and it's been so nice to hear you talking about gemology and your experiences, and you know how you got into it. And I love how, like you said, you wanted to be a vet. It's just there's so many different passions, right? That's what it is, and it's like at the end of the day, too, right? Like we have to pay our bills and get things done. But yeah, no, more. I'm actually thinking of going. Kind of possibly just pursuing appraisals and kind of maybe seeing where that takes me on my own. But yeah, the L'École de Gemologie in Montreal, yeah, you know what, that does sound like a good step to kind of get in touch with people there. I don't really, maybe they have meetings or something, but thank you so much for the information, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for talking to us.
Okay, and thank you, Krista and Donna. I have Harold has sent us a question. He says, hi, Donna and Çiğdem, thanks for having a great chat with us. Donna, I am curious as to how the CGA members communicate or socialize throughout Canada, being such a large country. Vancouver and Toronto seem to be the only cities on the map when it comes to meetings and conferences. Calgary, Alberta used to be my home in the 80s, and I was wondering if there are members living there who are involved in any way.
Well, Harold, guess where Donna lives now? Chaos. Unpacking behind me is, I've just moved to Calgary, so I am in Calgary. And I've had several people ask about a conference in Calgary. So if we get a lot of support, you never know, Brianna and I might just throw together a conference.
Super.
So definitely.
Well, that sounds a wonderful idea. And your conferences, Donna, I mean, they are the event to go. You cater at every level. It's so good, information-wise, getting different people, making new friends, and events are just amazing. So, yeah.
Well, when I finish unpacking.
And Harold says, thank you, Donna. He wanted you to say it. He didn't want to give it away.
Okay. Do we have any more?
Let's see if we have any hands raised. Nope,
No.
I don't see any. I think that's it.
Wow, don't be shy. I mean, we have quite a bit of attendance here, and I know most of you are from Canada. You know Donna. You can ask questions about AGA as well. We can answer anything.
I think the bond between AGA and the Canadian Gemmological Association is pretty well set and always will be set, because we have the same goals and the same philosophies, and that's important. So I think supporting each other is just one of the hallmarks of making us both better and stronger.
Yeah, I mean, both CGA and AGA got to be their sponsors for so many years for different events, and we always love the attendance from Canada and the input from our Canadian members. It's a wonderful thing, and all thanks to you, Donna, again, making it possible. Okay, I'm going to ask more questions then, since people are shy and they're not. Oh, great, let's go.
I have a follow-up question from Harold. He wants to know, how's the appraisal course development coming along?
Our next meeting on developing is Thursday. We meet every month, and we've got the things coming together. So we were hoping to offer it in September or October, but I think we're going to have to do this in January. So that's hopefully our open date is January 2026.
Great. Thank you. Angelique is asking, please tell us about one of your favorite gems you've looked at.
Ooh. How do you pick a favorite candy? I don't know. I guess I love emeralds because they're so full of interesting things. But I guess I also love the diamonds where you see and you find I've seen garnets inside of diamonds, you know, nice colorful garnets and things like that. So that's kind of a very interesting kind of phenomena, I think, because it's not very common. So those are probably my memorable stones. Yeah. But when
Angela,
sorry. You're kind of a stone junkie.
Yes. I'm sorry. I know that was a difficult one. Now we have
Well,
something from Pamela. She says, how do you see the associations changing to meet the future requirements of gemology and the changing roles of gemologists? Ooh.
That's a very good question.
For a while, we were seeing people being very comfortable with online learning, but we have noticed the trend coming back. The pendulum has swung the other way, and definitely people are wanting in-person instruction and in-person lab time, etc. So we are, of course, focusing on that. We're hiring more in-classroom instructors and expanding our offerings instead of just certain times we're offering evening classes as well as full-time day classes now. And that is directly as a result of people wanting that again. They want back in the classrooms. And I think that's an important thing, especially in gemology. And I think with gemology comes the responsibility that we have for protecting the public. They have no one to go to. Okay, so if they can't go to an independent, trusted gemologist, they can't go to anyone. And this is really important because they can go to the store and somebody's going to give them a certificate or some sort of appraisal that an in-house appraiser has written up. And I know you in America think, but this is the laws aren't as strict in Canada. So there is a lot more room for fraudulent stuff to go on in Canada and not be caught. So this is why it's important for the public to have someone they can trust and turn to, who is independent, not working for a store, and can help them. Okay. I know in the States it's a little different. There are a lot of lawsuits that are, coming back for millions, etc. And we have not seen that yet in Canada. But again, when you're dealing with those kind of things in the US, to have gemological credentials, the reputation, and to be independent. And this is where you come into some pretty intense situations. So court work is often a prerequisite almost for being able to do appraisals in certain places and certain locations and certain types of appraisals that you do, whereas that's not so much so in Canada. So yet, I mean, the pendulums always swing and things change. But for now, we are lucky in Canada in that we don't get into those large lawsuits and court work. Some people say, yes, it's really good, but court work is not easy. I've in all my career, I've been to court testifying about things 3 times. And it's not just being in court, it's about being there and making sure the reports you have written are all perfect. There isn't a mistake anywhere or anything else. And to be put on the stand and be, asked the questions, etc., and then cross-examined about, by someone else who's going to try and say, are you sure this isn't a mistake, or you're this or you're that? It's not easy work. And it is very, very difficult and stressful work. And unfortunately, if you're involved in that, you have to be prepared and you have to know how to handle yourself. And I'm sure at some point someone was asking, well, why don't you guys do how to prepare for court? Well, I don't think we have enough demand for that in Canada, but I mean, certainly that might be something AGA might want to do on a seminar one Sunday or something, or in Tucson when we have our conference, maybe have another half day about working in courts and how do you prepare for courts, tips for working in court. I don't know. That's just a shot off my head because those kind of things happen so much and people ask about it so much. So anyway, just.
So Donna, you're saying that while associations are teaching gemology, because we moved on from online teaching into more hands-on, so we're going back to that more hands-on, they also need to emphasize the difference between appraisal and being a gemologist, or being a valuer and being a gemologist, and also teach what the legal consequences are.
Yes, exactly. And it's
Okay, so that,
and you know what, in an online learning situation, you can never talk to anyone about that. You know, it's like, you know, so, but the one thing in classroom, you don't only get the gemological education, you get the experience of your instructor. And your instructor can talk about things and do things and whatever. And all of a sudden, maybe you're looking at diamonds, but maybe that instructor all of a sudden say, look, I was involved in this case on the diamonds. And you suddenly get a whole another realm opened up to you to think about and to understand. And I think this is the great thing about in-person learning is it just goes wherever, you know, the experience of the instructor can go. And it's so healthy for students to be able to talk about various things, whether it's about the legal system, the laws, or something they saw, or somebody, or misappraisal somebody brought in and, you know, appraised a chrysoberyl for a sapphire or whatever they were doing. It was just those kind of things. So yeah, it's in person is really, really healthy.
okay, thank you.
Great. I have two more questions. Annie's asking, what did you find most rewarding about serving on the AGA board, and what are your hopes for AGA's future?
Well, I think the thing that was kind of when I first joined AGA, our conferences were more like panel discussions, and that wasn't a bad thing at all. But I just thought that people need to hear more than just, you know, 4 or 5 guys up there talking about whatever. And sometimes their egos got in the way, so you were privy enough to listen to an argument, but that's not what you paid your money for. You know, you wanted to come and learn. So I think it was great that we pioneered this kind of lecture conference where people come in and you listen to renowned speakers from all over the world. We've been so fortunate because Tucson's the meeting place for the world for gemology. So we've had some incredible, knowledgeable and incredible people speaking from all over the world. And that's what's made AGA so different and so unique and such a great learning experience, because you can talk to those people. After the speaker's finished, you can go and sit and talk with them, whether it's at lunch or in the evening or at the banquet, or have a drink with them or whatever. And that's what I see is so important with AGA. It's not just going and listening and then walking out. You've got your lunch, you can interact, coffees, you've got the galas, and those things make your interactions so much healthier, I feel, because you can actually talk to these world-renowned speakers and see how human they are and get to share their life experiences over a drink or a coffee or a meal or whatever. And I think that that's probably one of the beautiful things about AGA and how things are going there, and the presidents, and yeah, I just feel that that's so important and an experience you can't get online and doing those kind of things.
And what do you see in AGA's future, Donna? Do you wish something else?
I just hope it continues and it continues to expand and grow. And I mean, and you know, the speakers that, you know, finding the speakers willing to share. And that's the important thing. And we've got such great speakers in the world, but I hope we keep cultivating great speakers in the world, because they are important.
I agree with AGA being unique in that regard, because we are all for education, and we want to achieve that not only through the conference, but we have another half-a-day conference in summer for Diamonds only. We have webinars, we have panel discussions, especially for future jobs that people would be interested. So AGA actually gives a lot of ideas and guide people in education. So I am proud of it. I'm proud of being part of it as well. So thank you for that. That's a great answer.
And good question. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pamela is asking, do you think gemologists will soon have the sophisticated lab equipment available now in the larger labs?
Well, certainly a lot of this sophisticated equipment is coming down in price. So it depends what kind of equipment that you want, because, you know, even the synthetic diamond testers, when they came out, were expensive. Now they're very affordable. And there are many organizations offering the sale of this. So yes, it's becoming much more affordable to get equipment. And certainly you can put it in your briefcase and it's portable, and you can do those kind of things. It's certainly every year you're going to see new things coming in, especially if you go to Tucson, you see the equipment from the various equipment companies coming in and offering, but you'll also hear about it from other speakers and other gemologists, and get to experience you know, working with them. And you'll see them in the gallery at Tucson putting their equipment and their new whatever that they're offering, and certainly much more affordable than it was before. So yes, becoming more affordable for people, and of course giving you reassurance when you're making your tests.
May I add something to that? Because it doesn't matter how sophisticated the instrument you're using, the person who uses that matters a lot. So it's basics, foundation is the most important thing there, because, you know, using a particular instrument is not going to make anybody a better gemologist.
That's
In
right.
fact, I remember that from John Koivu's interview, and with my with conversations that I had, a gemologist's most important instrument is their eyes.
Exactly.
You have to do the basic gemological tests before you move on to those sophisticated instruments, and take advantage of them at the level that they needed to be taken advantage of. So that's my opinion, but I know that Donna, as a teacher, shares that sentiment, I guess.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Terry, any more?
I don't see any other questions. Everyone is thanking you and saying how wonderful opportunity this has been.
I'm honored that you wanted me to speak. Thank you.
Well, we are honored that you're here and sharing your information with us. Let's give it another moment or so for people to think about other questions. And while that's happening, I want to ask another question to Donna. I know that you got involved in many international projects as well. Can you tell us about them a little? I'm sure that wasn't easy, being international, but both as a gemologist and a teacher, how did that go?
Well, it was, I guess it was really when, sorry, really when the Canadian Diamonds came on, and I was asked to be part of the the team to write the diamond cutting manual, and working with people like Gabby Tolkowski, who was so encouraging and so brilliant, and to have a man like him ask me questions about how do you think we should teach this, or what do you think about doing this, I was so honored. I mean, this is the man and whose family invented the cutting of diamonds properly, and it's like, and this man was asking me questions, so it was really a great kind of thing. And we even worked with people out of South Africa on that diamond cutting manual, and people like Johnny Rath, who was from South Africa, who was actually a diamond dealer and things like that. So it was just an incredible opportunity to be asked to be part of that team. And, you know, and to this day, I think it's truly the only diamond cutting manual that's ever been published. So it's being part of that team feels pretty good. Sure.
That's great. Thank you. Do we have any more, Terry?
We have one, some more comments, and one of them, Donna, I wanted to read to you. This is from John. He says, Donna was a great student and then mentor.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I guess you need to be a good student to be able to teach, right?
Yeah, I did cause a little bit of havoc here and there occasionally, but
it's fun. It's fun.
yeah, I think GMA were a little upset with me when I graduated and started saying, hey, these exams suck. But it's better now, you know, you don't have to draw the inside of a spectroscope to be a gemologist anymore.
I did that. That was my time. I memorized every single RI, every single spectrum, every single birefringence.
I know, and it was just stupid. You know, that was a memory thing, you know.
I'm not a big fan of memorizing things. So if you learn those things, that helps. But yeah, that was how it was. And things improve, things change. We didn't have a lab manual, for example, before 2000. So, and when I did that, you know, doesn't matter how many books you have in front of you, it wasn't available to you. Having access to instruments were much more challenging. These days, it is more, I mean, I wouldn't say it's easy, but definitely easier than how it was, say, 25 years ago. There are more people who want to help you. There are more people to mentor you in that regard. So things change, and I think they're going in a better way, in my opinion, in that, you know, we can have better access to instruments and so on. So that's an important thing.
And better skills for using them, and how to do research rather than just memorization of things.
Right. That's for sure. That's good. We're moving on. Okay. Do we have another one, Terry?
No, I don't have any more questions. And no hands up.
Okay.
Right.
Well, in that case, we're coming to the end. And I'd like to ask Donna again if there's anything that you want to say, you want to add, or anything that you remembered while we were talking about different things.
No, I'm just so thankful to have met you and worked together with you, and also to have been a part of AGA for so long, since 2000. I'm pretty excited about that. And then, of course, part of the Canadian Gemmological Association, and being able to work so closely together. And one of my greatest achievements too, I have a friend named Çiğdem, and I'm so honored, and I cherish that very much.
Thank you so much, Donna. That's wonderful. I'm a big fan, other than a friend. So thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm honored. Thanks. So I guess we came to an end, and I just want to remind you that this is a recording and it's available. I believe it's going to be available on YouTube as well, Terry. Yes.
Yep.
So watch that out. If you haven't watched the whole interview, or if you want other people to see it, definitely direct them to the interview either through our website or through YouTube, because we have a channel on YouTube. So that's what we can do. And I'd like to thank Donna. Thank you so very much, Donna. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being part of AGA. And personally, thank you for being my friend and my admired colleague. So I do appreciate you very much. And AGA and AGA membership, appreciate you because of the things that you have done for AGA. And I know that you have a huge following from your students. I'm sure they share the sentiments, because I know quite a few of them, and they just love you. They're big fans too. So thank you for everything, and thank you for being with us today, sharing all the insights that we wanted to learn about you. Thanks.
Thank you. It was truly an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna and Çiğdem, for a really timely interview. And I'm sure the audience enjoyed your personal stories and found them as inspiring and informative as I did. I want to thank Bonnie and Annie, who keep the AGA train on the tracks and work behind the scenes tirelessly to make all these things happen. Above all, I want to thank all of you for sharing part of your day with us. If you are not yet an AGA member, please consider joining the community and supporting the future of gemology by becoming a member. I hope to see all of you in person at our next event, the AGA Tucson Conference, which will be February 4th, 2026 in Tucson, Arizona. Until then, keep up with all things AGA by connecting with us on social media at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.